All right, guys, welcome back. This is Sean with BlueRidgeSilverhound. We have our first, actually, Pocket Change market report for the month of April. Hopefully you guys are doing well and that you guys are out there hunting for some heavy-hitting errors and varieties and various other coins that you really do love. I want to thank you guys for tuning in on this one. It's great to be back. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the probably the neatest stuff that you can come across in Change today, or just in general out in the wild. I know folks like to hunt through what's easiest to get a hold of, and that's going to the bank, picking up some rolls, and going through and getting your hands dirty. As there's a lot to be on the lookout for. As you guys know, the brand new Edith Kanaka Ole quarter is out right now, so people are looking to find something interesting from that particular quarter. It's actually a very nice design. I personally am a favorite of it. We still have the original rotation of the other coins, your Lincoln cents, your nickels, dimes, and things of that nature to go through, and then they all bear that 2023 date. So be on the lookout for those as well. But also, folks are going out and they're cherry picking their local coin shops, antique shops, coin shows, things like that. They're looking for unattributed errors and varieties that maybe a dealer doesn't really care too much about. That this is a standard practice called cherry picking that we all do quite often. I know I've been doing it for about 20 years, and it's bore a lot of fruit over the years. Another great way to add something really nice to your collection, or as a way of reselling, making that supplemental income. I know a lot of folks like doing that as well. When times are tough and you need to make that extra scratch, that's a great way of doing it. And, you could really have a lot of success doing so if you know what you're looking for, and you're kind of a student of the game. You're constantly learning about some of the things that you can find out there. The standard stuff, we don't talk about graded coins in this video. The big reason why is that it adds in an extra expense that sometimes is not necessary. I would say 99% of the time it's not necessary at all, because, if you're looking to resell and you have to grade something because you think it's more than it actually is, you're going to end up, not making a whole lot at the end, or you're going to lose money. So you don't want to do that. And second of all the images that you see today are original to these sellers' respective listings. All we do is crop them, kind of made them together, obverse, reverse, make the video flow a little bit better doing it that way, and then we'll show any relevant close-ups provided by the seller that you guys need to know about. That's kind of like the normal soiree of stuff that you guys need to know. I always like to talk about my whatnot coin auctions. We have another one, the first one of the month, coming up this Friday, April 7th, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This one is the U.S. Type Coin and World Coin Showcase auction. We have over 24 over 24 coins to sell. If you're brand new to the platform, it's one of the hottest auction platforms going right now. I encourage you guys to come check it out. I will have my referral link down below in the description box, and it will also be pinned in the comment section of the video. If you're looking to test drive it, see what it's all about, you might as well sign up and get your $15 in credit that you could use right away. A lot of people are very pleased. I've had such great response and overwhelming just positivity from the site, and I think this is my favorite auction site above and beyond eBay by a mile, maybe 2 miles. I'm really not sure. It's just really good. So go ahead and check it out. It's going to be a great way for you guys to score some coins for a really good deal. We've sold some pretty pricey coins for, about 60-70% of what the, gray sheet bid or, the actual Numis Media value is on a lot of these coins. So I'm glad that people are able to get some pretty big deals, even at my expense. Again, it's kind of like my way of giving back to the community and offering up some problem-free type coins. buck and go. $1 start bid on everything, and whatever it sells for, it sells for. I don't care. But go ahead and check it out if you haven't done so already. And before we go ahead and jump in, I want to thank all the people that has signed up for my consultation services. I have about 24 consultations for the month of April already signed up. We still have a few slots available if you guys are interested in chatting with me about the hobby, about some of the things that you have questions on. If you're struggling, selling on eBay or trying to find out what you have, come in and list me. I am here, very small fee, of course. You get 45 minutes of my time, and then we get to chat about anything. The gloves are off, baby. Let's go ahead and get to the bottom of what you need. All right. So all that information is down below in the description box. So thank you to a great number of you that have signed up for the month of April. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. Sorry to take so long. All of the usual stuff is taking longer and longer the more I add in there. Let's go ahead and talk about this off-center struck Jefferson nickel. All right, so it's off-center by probably 30%. So we don't know what a date is here. I know that generally matters to a lot of collectors of this error type because folks like to collect by date. They'll try and assemble a date of each type, either as like a birth date, or maybe they're just doing a full date run of a specific series of this off-center error. So even coins like this, it doesn't have a full date, but it will still have some secondary market activity. As someone's just looking for an example of this coin. This one ended up selling for $31 with 18 bids. A very pleasing looking coin. Nothing too crazy here, but $31 is where we're at. I will say this, keep an eye out, especially at local dealers, for those dealers that don't like dealing with errors. They'll try and, sell these for like $10, $10, $15, which is a pretty big bargain. And I've come across a number of them. I always buy every single one I find if it's priced accordingly. And, that'll represent a pretty good way for you to, kind of double down a little bit, sell it, and make a little bit of money. So recognize that. And if you see these sell for way too cheap at a coin shop, then go ahead and scoop it up. You'll be doing them a solid, you'll be doing yourself a solid, and the world will be a much better place that way. All right, we got another good one here. We have a 2007P Roosevelt dime. Pretty similar to the previous coin, although this one does have a full date. It's not as extreme as the previous example, but, it's off-center by a little bit. I'd say 8-10%, somewhere around there. Pretty close to being a broad strike, although you don't really have that full rim there at the bottom. So this particular coin right here ended up selling for $15.75 with 9 bids. Really not a whole lot else to say. There's a little bit of damage on the obverse that probably suppressed the value a little bit, but this is something that you can come across going through rolls of dimes. I found a few similar just like it. Sure, it seems a little outlandish to think that this can be found in a roll, but rest assured, you go through enough coins, ladies and gentlemen, you will find stuff like this on occasion. So always a rather, I guess, surprising, pleasing kind of thing to come across when you do. And generally, they will sell for a pretty decent amount of cash at the end. So there you go. $15 for this one. Not too bad. All right, well, talk about going through the paces of daily commerce. We have a 1999 Denver, Georgia statehood quarter. You guys remember this? One of the first releases of this storied program, and we have a pretty neat looking error here. 2 curved rim clips on this one. So anything more than 1 clip is always an extra bonus ball, I suppose. This one also has the noticeable Blakesley effect areas opposite edge of the clips, so that's just a flattening of that edge as these things are being struck with a little bit of a tilt. But yeah, I mean, this one had, obviously, had seen circulation for many years, but that's okay. It's not the prettiest, but it's still going to have value to someone. And as we do now, statehood quarter errors in general are very well collected. This one sold for $23.22, coming up with 2 bids on this one. Someone really needed this one in their collection. Alright, so this one's pretty neat. It's, I'm going to say these kind of like 3/4 turn images where, you kind of are, taking a picture of the coin at an angle are not my favorite. They're not generally ideal, and I get it. On certain coins, especially steel cents, they kind of have that glare. If you have a light source that's kind of bouncing off of it, it can be a little bit tough. 1943 steel cent, always a popular favorite collected coin. And look out for this particular date especially, because you could come across some pretty nice die cracks on the reverse and obverse, of course. This one has a connected die crack that starts at the rim, goes through the wheat stalk, and then back out the rim. And as long as you could follow that, congratulations, you have a retained cut die break is what that's called. So eventually, that particular piece of the die would have fallen out at some point, creating a really nice size cut. This is considered, I guess, a progression of that particular anomaly, and these are very well collected as well. Take, for instance, this one. The coin, kind of hard to say if it's been reprocessed, also known as replated. This one right here sold for $20.99, and the coin's in pretty decent shape. So there you go. These will always have value, and because it's that 1-year type zinc-coated steel composition, it's always going to have that extra amount of value because of what it is. And here's another one of my favorites, ladies and gentlemen, 1939 Jefferson nickel. And it doesn't matter what condition this coin is in, you always want to flip the coin over, because if you have the doubled die reverse of this coin, the doubled Monticello, good job. That is a very high caliber variety. It's desired in all grades. These get ridiculously expensive in AU to mid-state conditions. So the people that do want them, they're looking for a little bit lower grade examples. And even still, those coins are not immune to a little bit of, market inflation, I suppose. This one right here, it's a pretty nice, I guess, low-end VF condition coin. Nothing really to scream home about. But when we look up closer to Monticello and 5 cents, wow, this is the money shot right here, guys. Very cool variety. One that actually comes up more frequently than you would realize. This one sold for $23.50 with 3 bids. Again, a very nice variety, and they all sell for some amount of money. Oh, well, I love talking about this one. It's nothing super crazy, but, the Salt River Bays, the 2020 with the P mint mark, so you're looking at the Philadelphia coins. If you look at the reverse on these with that mangrove kind of tree thing on the back there, if you look deep in, where the flat fields are, if you have these, what looks like rain shower looking things, if we come up a little closer here to this close-up provided by the seller. Good job, by the way. You see these parallel lines in the background. So normal coin won't have that. The error in question will. They call these feeder finger scrapes, and we actually have a pretty neat auction listing that I threw in here, so you guys know what a feeder finger looks like. So you're going to see that here later on in this video. But the feeder finger makes contact with the die face, okay, creating these scrapes here. And when it strikes coins, it's going to translate into this. And then they're all raised, by the way. So pretty neat. I always term this one as kind of like the stormy rain, Salt River Bay. It kind of fits and it looks neat. $15 is what this one sold for. They're not terribly expensive, but just realize you do come across one, they're worth way more than a quarter. All right. I've had people toss these back before and, don't think otherwise, because it's in a protected area within the devices that normally most people would just kind of forget about. So keep that in mind. All right, revisiting good old, I guess, Flameball Eyes, Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, this thing has gotten a lot of different nicknames. Laser Eyes, Superman Eyes, whatever. But 2022 Lincoln Shield Cents. Shield Cents, by the way, have been the go-to coin for a lot of roll hunters, all right? Because there's been a crap ton of errors that have been found, even in this year's 2023 with the VDB-V variant, that even still to this day are selling between 30 and 40 bucks as a huge chase coin. But keep in mind, this one exists from last year, which is simply just a strike through of grease and debris and various things like that, just the right spot on the coin to give it a really neat moniker. This one right here ended up selling for $19.25. Still a really nice solid amount of money. There were a number of these that did sell here in the last 24 hours, which, by the way, all the sales featured today are within the last day and a half. So very active 24-hour period. But yeah, there were a number of these that did sell, which means that there are more to be found out there. They are not particularly rare. They do come up quite often, and then people are capitalizing on its neat looking thing, and they are worth some money today. Here's another one right here, 2019 Shield Cent. I'm telling you, Shield Cents are hot right now. Both error form and the sealed equity form have all been selling really well here in the last few months. This one has a pretty nice size strike through on the reverse, as you can see right here. This is actually the seller provided photos. So yeah, don't get on my case if they're a little bit out of focus, but that is indeed a strike through right there on the bottom left of that shield. It actually goes into the shield, but yeah, that's just a compilation of grease and other things that you can imagine, metal shavings, debris, dust, dirt, all that great stuff. So this one, not terribly expensive, $6.90. The bigger the strike through, if it's in just the right spot, they're what's matters. Okay, they tend to sell for a lot more if they're a lot bigger. All right, Brian Rybar had one of these on tap, and this is a beautiful coin. I even forgot that this one even existed, but it's a 1960, and I believe this is a proof Franklin half dollar. All right, there's a pretty nice double to die in 61. And maybe you guys are aware of it, but 1960, you should never overlook this one either. This is a beautiful example of the FS 101. DDO number 3 is what it is. So it's a cherry picker's guide variety, but the close-ups provided by Brian's listings show all of this crazy doubling. He did a good job with the arrows, by the way. So look at the date and Liberty, and then you're going to get all the information you need. You'll probably need a magnifier to look at this, but once you get a magnifier on it, it'll slap you silly because it's that strong. But beautiful coin. This one ended up selling for $103.90. So not the craziest double to die, but a very valuable one, coming from a proof set that normally would run you about 30 to 35 bucks. So that's not that bad of a cherry pick if you do come across it. And here's another very, innocent looking error on the 2018 P Voyagers National Park quarter. This one here has a little bit of a raised rim cut. So it's on the rim, a little bit of a break there on that part of the die, but it doesn't go into the design. So it's just simply a rim cut. This one right here sold for $10.25. Okay, not the best looking photos, but this one's okay. It did what it needed to do to furnish a sale. It's a 1984. Trust me on this. 1984 Lincoln Memorial Cent with a pretty nice size cut die break on the motto there on the right behind Lincoln's head. You probably see it, but you probably see it a little bit better here on this image. Cuds are kings right now. Anyone that you do come across, it's like instant guaranteed good cold hard cash. This one ended up selling for $48, and guess what? ladies and gentlemen, the bar is set really low on the photography front. Yeah, try saying that 10 times fast. Photography arena. As you can tell, the photos are not great, but still managed to pull in a really respectable sale for this. Okay, yeah, it's all center, but this one has something a little bit extra. So this Jefferson nickel, no readable date. I don't think that really matters here. It's all center by about 60%, I would say. But it has two very sizable clips to it. So it's a dual error. And as we know, dual errors are fun. And traditionally, they're, a little bit more rare than anything else you could find out there. So this one right here, it's crazy enough that it has one error and one clip, but two clips makes it all the more special. So two clips and off-center by quite a bit. This one sold for $130. So, it really takes coins like this to the next level, which is fantastic, and that's why I like seeing from some things like this. And again, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? It's not graded. You don't need to grade things like this. Because they sell for themselves and they command the full potential of the market. So, yeah, keep that in mind before you fill out some PCGS paperwork. Really consider and think about what these go for. Do a little bit of research, and you're going to find that you won't need to do that. Okay, so man, these coins are awesome, and we all get to a point where we want to own one of these. The error aficionados in us, that really care about things like this. We want to own a premier piece. The 2020p American Samoa blind bat quarter. Just a massive strike through right on the main feature bat face. There, yeah, man, that's crazy looking. Every time I see one, I'm like, yeah, I gotta have one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, these things used to be $500 to $1,000. Okay, so there were a number of bidders that I don't know if they slept at the wheel or these things have truly come down. But this one ended up selling for $202.50 with two bids. Seriously, this thing, you don't see it for this cheap. So someone probably got a screaming deal. I'm not going to say that is undeniably the value of these, although still quite a bit of money. $500 to $1,000 is still, still the value of where I think these are at. But we haven't seen any other ones sell here recently. So yeah, a really good deal. Someone stole this one, I believe, and the coin is in really good shape. So always look out for this. There are people that are still finding these, going through rolls. There's actually, there's someone that does roll hunts on TikTok, that ends up finding these every so often. I actually saw him pull one, I don't know, probably a month ago. And it is a gorgeous shape. So they're still out there. Look out for them. These are huge coins. And speaking of a steal, man, you guys remember when these things were $150 to $250, 2 years ago? Yeah, I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers as well. The Tuskegee Airmen, the final year of the National Park quarters, the burning building strike through is always something that is going to live in infamy as being one of the coolest finds, to date. And, really set the stage for what is going to be a really nice, 12-month period of nothing but crazy errors as the American women quarters, started. So, yeah, these are only found on Philadelphia struck coins, of course, and you look for that strike through right on the building on the reverse. This particular example, wow, it's like bargain basement prices here, $28.33 with 9 bids. This one did sell overnight, so it was a late night deal, and I'm sure a lot of people weren't online for something like this. If I was, I would have bid on it, no doubt. I still see this as a, $50, $60 coin all day long. Sure, they've come down, but they still have a lot of value. And here's another one as well. 2021 Washington crossing the Delaware quarters. P-minted, crown die chip is what we're looking for here. Not the biggest crown that I've seen. There is a larger size die chip on top of Washington's hat. This is more the medium type of level of crown. This one sold for $90.25. So, yeah, it's still a great amount of cash. Can't believe this one sold for more than that Tuskegee Airman that we just saw. Let's see, I think Brian Rybar had another heavy-hitting coin. This is a rare one, and you guys need to know about it. 1930S Lincoln Wheat Cent with a pretty nutty variety. This is an RPM that, I've been looking for a number of years. Even in rougher shape than this one. This one is actually pretty decent, although it does have a few carbon spots and staining on there. I don't think really matters too much because of the age. This one right here is an RPM that is north of the primary. They call this one RPM number 1. It's also a Cherry Picker's Guide FS501. This coin right here ended up selling for $78.90. So very valuable example. Some of these earlier RPMs are just, it's like striking it rich every time you find one. So if you're an avid searcher of wheat cents, look out for this one. You're going to be pleased that you did. Wow, incredible looking strike through here. It's got to be an early 80s copper. It's not a copper coated zinc, so probably like a 1980 or an 81. It looks like an 80 from what I could see. 1980D, lots of grease on the dies on this one. $11.98 was the sale price. Again, that's normal price for something like this. It was something like this on a much bigger coin like a Candy half dollar or Ike would be worth a lot more money, but on Lincoln cents, these come up more frequently than you think. Pretty cool one here. Not a date that you see too often. 1989 Lincoln Memorial Cent is off center by about 10%. Coin's in decent shape, I would say. This one sold for $39.99. And here's another one here, 1979. This one is really neat. I like the look of this one. Great shape. Off center by about 55%. And this one right here, $39.48. I think this one looks way better than the previous coin for the same amount of money. Full date, if it had a mid-mark, you'd see that as well. And we also have a Roosevelt dime here as well. Well, it's got enough of a date that we know it's from the 90s. We just don't know what the last digit is. But this one is off center by about 70%. Roosevelt dimes, error-wise, they have their audience. And this one sold for $44.99. So another collectible going to a new home. And we have a 1974D. Some pretty good earlier dated errors. This one right here is actually an indent with a partial brockage. All right, so this particular coin here was, before the strike, of course, was overlapped by an already struck coin. So you had two coins overlapping during the strike, and that's what creates the indent. And because the other coin was already struck, you had some of that design that had carried through in the form of a brockage on there, and of course it's always going to be mirrored backwards. This one sold for $73.98, a beautiful looking coin. Well, there you go, guys. That is what a feeder finger looks like. All right, so it says 5 nickel right on the stamped on the face of the feeder finger, and that this is for nickels. Now all the little stamps that you see there, these are all Daniel Carr stamps. All right, Daniel Carr is a fantasy artist of dies, and he makes his own coins. But this is a legit feeder finger that was used to produce nickels. So yeah, that's what that looks like. It helps feed the planchet in to the striking chamber before the strike, and yeah, pretty neat. How much do these things go for? How about $300 for this one? Not a cheap implement to afford for sure. Now I'm saying, should you guys own one of these? Well, good luck finding one, but no, probably not necessary. You just need to know what the things look like. All right, so this is an integral part to the mint presses and how everything, works, and how all of the, the planchets and the coins are fed into the striking chamber and eventually ejected. Pretty cool seeing one, but yeah, that's what a feeder finger looks like. Pretty nice looking earlier date. It has its issues, for sure, but I wouldn't be opposed to owning something like this, 1863. They call these white cents, because they're on a copper nickel composition. So they have more of a whiter color than, the other dates of Indian head cents. But check that out. It's off center by a little bit, probably 10%. If you look at it a little bit closer, it's probably more broad struck than it is off center. So, I'll just say it's either or, it's very close. But yeah, these Indian head sets with this level of error is always going to be highly coveted. So if you do come across them and going to the shows and stuff and they're reasonably priced, you might want to consider picking them up, because there are a number of collectors, like Sharmi Harker, who goes by the Penny Lady name. She buys these, and she's a collector of such type of errors. This one right here is sold for $73.05 with 11 bids. Pretty fair amount of price considering its condition, which, it's probably not going to straight grade with all the corrosion on there. So Coins and Cards had some premier stuff. All right, we have 3 back-to-back coins to talk about. Of course, if you're talking about Lincoln Cent rarities, the 1922 plain no D Lincoln wheat cent with the strong reverse is one that's on the list. All right, so as you guys know, 1922 Lincolns were only struck at the Denver Mint. They're all supposed to have a Denver Mint mark. So, whatever happened, whether it's a clogged die or an abrasion of the die, I know these things were notorious for a really horrible strike on both sides. So, that's going to be more a case of a die deterioration or effect or something of that case. But you guys know that this is a much needed coin for completionists. This particular coin right here ended up selling for $1,025 with 52 bids. Yes, it is that valuable and that expensive. So if you do come across these, make sure you're looking at the mint mark area just to make sure. And yeah, these things are generally counterfeited. So make sure that you have the correct number type on the coins as well. And another big one here. I mean, it's 1972 Lincoln Memorial Cent with the FS101 double to die is always going to be a hotly pursued coin. And these are still being found in change today. So take those two things to heart. Just know that these are still found. And, if you find one, good job. You found yourself a really nice coin to add to your collection. But if you needed to sell it, this one ended up selling for $504 with 29 bids. There are a few little nicks and scratches on the obverse. Of course, not the perfect coin, but, a great example nonetheless. And of course, yeah, how about 1955? Double to die obverse, the craziest of the crazies, made an appearance, and Coins and Cards, out of all people, had one available. Yeah, the doubling is second to none. Yeah, I mean, you can see this thing coming from a mile away. This is a really nice AU Brown specimen. And it shows you that you don't need to grade these because they will still command a full market. If you know what you're looking for, certain die markers when you're buying these, then you're going to be in good shape. This one sold for $2,188.88 with 55 bids. It's a beauty. One day I'll add another one of these to my list. Oh, good old Edith. Yeah, making an appearance on here. And yeah, I mean, this is the current featured coin that people are going through right now. I mean, yeah, check out the design. It's cool. And her name is Incuse Into Her Hair design, which I think is neat as well. But yeah, look out for the clashed eyes. It's going to show up here behind the earlobe. It's actually Edith's name that's clashed on the obverse. And you're also going to find some with some what appears to be feet or finger scrapes, but we have a theory. Paula Bloom had said that maybe the Mint employee tried cleaning that up a little bit, cleaning the die clash that is on the dies. And that's why those, what appear to be feet or finger scrapes are there. But in reality, maybe they're just die file lines. So where are we at on these? They came out of a gate selling for about $30. They come down a little bit because everybody and their brother is finding them. This one sold for $19.95. Still, I wouldn't ignore them or throw them back. They're still neat and they're still worth a little bit of money. 1949 Lincoln Wheat Cent. Pretty cool to see one this off-center right here. Off-center by about 20%. Beautiful mint state red too. Man, I mean, this thing is, whoever's looking for this, I'm sure a number of folks were looking for this one for their date set, would be absolutely pleased with this one. This one ended up selling for $106.90. And we're going to end it off on a couple more Tuskegee Airmen. So if you thought that first one that we saw earlier in the show was a little bit cheaper, these will kind of help change your mind in thinking that that they've gone down that much in price. So we have this one here with the huge major double kind of like strike through on the reverse, right on the building and underneath the plain wing. This is like the major one that used to sell for like $300 2 years ago. But I'm happy to say that someone have bought out like 6 or 7 of these back to back. And these are the two best ones right here. Like this one sold for $90. It is a circulated one. And then there is also this one here as well. That's stored in kind of like an airtight container. Same type of strike through. However, this one, much more like it, sold for $200. So yeah, still quite a bit of money to be made here on the strike through Tuskegee Airmen's. A little kind of like a word of advice: if you're going to sell these, do it as buy it nows, because the seller did that and ended up selling through 5 or 6 of their inventory really easily. So yeah, anyways, yep, pretty nice. Get rid of that there. Pretty nice coin, and that is indeed the final coin of the PCMR before the HP message flew up on there. Crazy. Never had that before. But anyways, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up. And it's time for you guys to go out there and do some hunting of your own. More 2023 coins to be on the lookout for. The next wave of all the denominations will be coming out here very shortly. And yeah, apparently someone had found a Eleanor Roosevelt, which is the 3rd American Women Quarter. That's not supposed to release until like June or July. Yeah, someone found one of those in circulation. Don't ask me how I knew, as someone had posted on Facebook or something. But pretty crazy. So you just never know what the Mint's going to do. You'd think they'd clean up their act, but apparently they'd like to keep it down and dirty, right? And that's where we come in. We love looking for stuff like this. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this one. Hopefully you guys missed the Pocket Change Market Report. Again, I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. I want to thank you guys again for all your views and support. Love you guys. Go ahead and do some hunting. We'd love to hear some of your big wins. You guys take care. Have a good one. And I'll see you on the next coin video. So long, my coinaholics.